Mexico is a big country with 32 different states. When you're speaking about taxation, it's kind of federal tax law, or there is some local state from taxation perspective or from company settling perspective, life better or less? Because, okay, I know there is more industrial states like Nuevo León, Querétaro, Puebla, and there is, another states which are more busy with kind of agricultural business or with tourism. So what is the difference from kind of taxation?
Well, the good news is that most taxes are at the national level. You're going to be paying them to the SAT. A lot of folks would be wondering, then how do states get their money? Well, there was a federal deal, so to say, in which the federal government collects most of the tax base and it's given out to the states and as a proportion of what they contributed, right? So that's that's I think that 90% of what you're going to be paying in taxes, you're going to be paying it to the side. However, there are some state taxes that tend to be very low that are not based on your income. They're actually mostly based around property. So if you own a very large plot of land, a very large home, etc., you might be paying a bit more in property tax. However, the rates are nothing like in the US or Canada. They are considerably lower because a lot of the baseline price of the value of real estate is not measured by its commercial value, but by something that's called the precio catastral, which is the price that the government through its own means every 5 to 10 years. So this gives a lot of advantage that if you own a considerably large home in Mexico, you're going to be paying really a very small fraction of taxes as to the commercial value of that property. And I would say that's most of the local taxes that you have to take into account. However, there are other ways that you have to contribute to the local government tax base. One example is the tenencia vehicular, right? So you have to pay for the plates of your car each year, depending on the model, the price that you paid for the car, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a small tax on cars, sort of say. The other type of taxes, if you do have a business at the local level that you have to worry about, is the Impuesto sobre la nómina. Right? It's a tax on salaries. It's not a tax on income per se, but it's a tax on the salaries that you're going to be paying your employees. If you're an employer, the local company will retain maybe 2 or 3% of your salary, of your monthly salary for the local government. And if you're an employer, you have to retain actually. You are forced to pay between 1 and 3% of your employees' salaries to the local state government. Now, there are other small taxes, small fines that you can get worried about, but that is going into the individual level of the type of activity that you're doing. For example, if you're a local polluter, right? If you have some sort of waste that you need to discharge into, a river or something that has its own specific set of taxes and regulations. But for most folks, I would worry about only those three. So property, cars, and the employment tax, sort of say, which is, yeah, between 1 and 3%.